Hey folks, my guest today is Yui Vo. He started Productfy with the thesis that financial services is among the is moving to the edge where the user experience is. He's a product leader, having spent much of his career at fintechs and insurtechs, and is deeply passionate about financial services because he believes that the sector is both huge, massive opportunity, and a tremendous moral obligation to do societal good. And it's largely failed our most vulnerable populations. He believes the democratization of financial products and is committed to changing the way financial products are built for good. Yui, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here, Nathan.
You bet. Okay, so tell us about the product. Describe your customer. Who are you selling to?
Yeah, so maybe I can give a little bit of a context before that about the fundamental problem that we're trying to solve for. Is that right now financial services is a zero sum game. I take money from you, I lend it to your neighbor, I make as much money as I can in between. That's how I earn my living. What we fundamentally have to ask ourselves is that if we wanted to engender a kinder, more compassionate, more empathetic, more socially just financial ecosystem, there has to be a change in how people view financial services. So we realized that we needed to create a marketplace for companies who aren't into banking, who aren't into financial services, to better serve their end users. Imagine the power of a university that can offer a secure checking, a secure credit card, checking, savings account to its student to help them build credit.
So
To help
you
them
just
keep
to be
out of
clear,
trouble.
is I'd love to talk about this through your customers. Is that one of your early customers, a university?
No. Our early customers are all fintechs at this point. They basically have integrated with our APIs. But what we want to do is we want to expand beyond the world of fintechs and move into clients that are not solely financial services.
Okay, so I guess just let's talk about where you are first, then we can go talk about sort of where you're going. So
Right.
can you maybe name a customer that's paying you today and sort of explain how they're using you?
Yeah. So uh, actually, Nathan, I need to double check with our commercial teams on like where we can name clients yet. I'm not sure if we can name specific clients, but I'm happy to talk about use cases if that
Yeah.
works.
Only talk about what you can talk about. I mean, is everyone under NDA, or I mean, sometimes obviously you have case studies and things. Is there a real customer you can name?
Yeah, I mean, we again, I want to make sure I align with our commercial team on what our broader messaging is. We just historically haven't named specific clients on these calls, and we just talk about use cases that we try to solve for them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's way more effective to talk about an actual customer using it than sort of general high level use cases, which is why I'm digging there. So if you can't talk about a specific customer, that's fine. We can talk about more of the backstory.
Yeah, I mean, we like I can tell one of our customers they're creating a card that's optimized for people who travel a lot, right? Creating the right travel experience, and so they're using us. They're basically using our card rails, launching first with debit card, and then eventually in Q1 they're going to be launching with a secure credit card and eventually unsecured credit card. So right now they're live transacting in our system. We offer wires, deposit accounts, ACH, and debit cards.
Okay, got it. Very interesting. And so, what does a customer like that pay you per month to use the technology?
Yeah. So we try to be very very startup friendly. So we're talking very very minimal program management fees in the hundreds of dollars until you go live, and it's the low thousands. And then per month, and then we charge on ACH, on KYC, on wires, and then we split the interchange on revenue. We split the interchange rev share.
Okay, so again, usually like all this, fintech, there's like generally 300 bips up for grabs. Really, anytime money moves hands, and everyone sort of approaches it a different way, right? So when you say you make money on ACH, explain to me how that might work.
Yeah. So on ACH we charge a flat fee.
Okay, of how much?
It varies by volume.
Oh, I see. Okay, if I'm just getting started with you, if someone listening right now wants to sign up for your platform, what are they going to pay you on ACH just
Right.
starting?
I think it's like 10 cents per ACH.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so super small, and
Yep.
then obviously scales down with volume. Which
Yep.
one of these is your most used tool, by the way? ACH, KYC, wires, interchange.
So uh, I think when you say most used, right? Like I want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing because if you think about it, um, you cannot open a card until you do KYC, right? So technically, KYC is the gateway to everything.
Yeah.
So
So
nothing is
got it.
possible without KYC. But
So
obviously,
so
once you
how do
do
you make
the
money? How do you make money there? Since that's the first step.
right, so we offer we have a BSAML department that does checks, but then we have the full suite of automation around KBA questionnaires, and around document verification. So every time you use one of those tools, we charge you a small fee.
Flat fee one time.
Flat fee one time, yes.
Like a dollar or under a dollar?
It depends on where in the water flow you end up, right? If you right off the bat, we have very clear indication. If we know who you are, then you don't have to go down further step. But if like, hey, maybe there's not sufficient information here, we have to go pull additional data, we have to have you upload your driver license, then that's additional steps in the waterfall.
Assume the cheapest one. So let's say I'm a really easy customer. My information's out there. You can find me. You don't need me to do extra steps.
Yeah, I think our first level KYC is something like 60, 70 cents or something like that.
Oh, super, super convenient. Okay, got it. Yep. Cool. All right, great. And then obviously you get into wires and interchange. And what are we talking, like 10, 20 bips there?
Yeah, so wires, flat fees as well. No interchange on wires. Like we try to be really, really friendly with startups.
Okay, got it. So flat, I mean, you're talking like under a dollar per wire.
I don't remember that number off the top of my head.
Okay. Are any of these structured as a percent, or is it all flat fee?
So interchange off of card spend is bips. Everything else is structured as a flat fee.
Okay, so what were you able to carve out for yourself? I'm always interested, folks, trying to carve out there's only 300 bips up for grabs, right? So what did you carve out?
I think that depends on the use case. Commercial is very different than personal, and credit is very different than debit. So I think what we look at is we look at a per customer usage, and then we try to figure out like what makes sense, because we want to ultimately help our clients be successful. So a lot of that is looking around their use cases, and figuring out like, the bips you make when you go to a restaurant is very different than the bips you make when you're shopping at a grocery store.
Yep.
Right. There are certain requirements if you're going to do a signature bin versus a non-signature bin. So there, and then obviously commercial and personal are two very different bin types. Secure versus debits are two very different bin types. So it really, really does depend on our clients' like use cases.
Okay, I want to get off of pricing and capture more of your story, sort of product vision, your backstory here. So let's just take an average here, right? The average customer, looking at all the product lines that you offer them, are going to pay you what, like $1,000 per month once they're onboarded?
I mean, in terms of like flat fees, or in terms of like, because obviously
recurring monthly,
right? So that like what they pay us, also if they're doing more ACH volumes, they're going to pay us more.
I understand that. Right. More KYCs. I understand that. That's what I'm asking. So you would then have to do the calculation in your head. What is the average customer? How many new KYCs are they processing every month? Or how much interchange bips am I earning per month? Like what's sum it all up together? Is like a sweet spot sort of 1 to 5K per month per customer?
Yeah, I think it's probably safe to say 1 to 5K is probably the right number. Yeah.
And do you want to stay and sort of limit and do like high volume of customers but low ARPU, or do you anticipate moving like upstream and only working with people doing 1 million KYCs per month?
What we actually want to move more towards is to enable organizations that don't have engineering teams, that don't have compliance teams, that don't have servicing teams, to be able to launch a financial product. And so that's the model that we are now exploring going into Q1 of next year, because fundamentally we're going to take on a lot more program management responsibilities, right? We're going to make more on the transactional fees rather than on like program fees, because a lot of these clients aren't set up to know how to run these programs. So we're going to set up to basically set them up to be almost zero cost for them to get up and running, and really just make money as they scale. Because we're the program management, and we basically run the entire program, and we're targeting non-fintechs, and so it's a different business model.
But you're starting with it's kind of weird, right? You're starting with fintechs, but you're telling me you're targeting non-fintechs.
Well, we're starting with fintechs because that's what we started out building as APIs, right? If you look at like
in what year? What year?
This year.
You just launched in 2021?
We launched our products that has taken off in 2021.
When did you write your first line of code for the business?
2018.
Okay, got it. How did you fund yourself for the past 2 years?
We raised $280,000 of pre-seed fund, and we were just doing like small projects, getting paid for certain integrations, and just trying to get by in the first 2 years.
And the hustle is real, right? Hustle is real. Yeah. Okay, so first customer though onboarded this year.
First customer onboarded with the platform that is currently scaling onboarded this year. we had a prior version of the platform that we were just trying to get MVP out to get some revenue in. But
I see.
this year we released a brand new platform, and that's what the entire cohort of clients are launching on.
I see. And what's the cohort size today? How many customers on the platform?
I'm not sure that we're releasing that information publicly yet.
Okay, we're talking like a hand. I'm talking like 5 or like 500.
It's more than 5, but it's not in the hundreds.
Got it. It's a handful of enterprise accounts that you're onboarding meticulously, slowly, and making sure you get the product fit right. So you're talking like 5 to 20, 30, something like that.
Yeah, it's somewhere between 5 and 100.
Okay, fair. Got it, fair. All right, so talk to me more about sort of backstory here. Did you come from embedded finance or somewhere? What got you into this?
Yeah, I just spent a lot of time financial services. Really love it. Really wanted to think of a way to build financial services in a way that is kind of more compassionate. That's kind of been my passion, and that's why we really wanted
But
to do
why
something.
though, Yui? Why? Were you scarred? Did something happen to you where you're like, wow, this is pure injustice. I need to fix this.
For me, first generation immigrant, I was homeless in high school. Didn't know how to access financial services. I think that's probably like my experience.
Well, I mean, that would do it, right? You experienced it firsthand, so that makes complete
Yeah.
sense to me. Tell me more about the team today. How many folks?
We right now we're at 30, but we're already adding 2 more in January.
Mm-hmm. And what is the mix? How many of those folks are engineers?
So product engineering collectively is 17 people.
17. Okay, cool. And I mean, sort of what does the motion look like? Do you have to hire like inbound sales folks to onboard some of these financial institutions, fintechs?
So financial institutions are different. Financial institutions are handled by our bank partnerships and financial operations team. The onboarding of our clients is handled by our servicing team, and then the actual commercial team is what you would expect from a sales organization.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 like different areas of responsibilities.
I see. Okay, cool. And then talk to me a little bit more about you've chosen, I think, to raise capital to keep pouring fuel on the fire. What happened after the 280K seed?
We raised our seed round 2.35 back in
2.3.
August. Yeah, 2.35 back in what is it, August of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did a $16 million Series A back in April of this year. And then we're going to be out fundraising sometime next year for a Series B.
Mm-hmm. Most folks, obviously, when they're doing that Series A, in today's market, it's kind of crazy, but it's selling between 10 and 20% of the business. Were you sort of in that standard range, or do you do something crazy?
I would say, that range is in the ballpark. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Why some founders who maybe have raised VC in the past and it scarred them might say, you know what, I'm only raising a 60 million Series A if 80% of it is secondary for early employees, or do some sort of crazy stuff. Did you have any of those historical experiences where you've changed like the model and you've thought differently about how to raise?
No, I don't. I don't think we did anything crazy. I don't think we did anything crazy.
No, I'm asking you. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, I thought what we did was pretty standard. We made sure that we took care of our employees. But yeah, the dilution is probably in line with some of the numbers that you said before.
Mm-hmm. And then most pre-seed rounds these days, sometimes did you do a priced round or you do a safe on the 2.3?
That was a price round.
Oh, you did decide. Why'd you decide to price it? Did you have a seed round before that on a safe?
We had a pre-seed round on a KISS note, not a safe.
Okay.
Then we did the price round on the seed of the 2.35. And the reason why we did it is there was this person that we really, really wanted to work with. He's our board member today, Dave Matter, and his firm had a standard way of doing business, and for seed they do price rounds, and that's just the way. And we really wanted to work with him. So
this is like Sunny and the crew at Point 72, right?
Yeah. Sunny is one of the people there, but Sunny wasn't the person who's our board member or worked.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And then so again, somewhere between 5 and sort of 100 customers say, look, if we look at like 40 or 50 customers at $1,000 ARPU, you guys are somewhere around $50,000 a month right now in revenue.
We're definitely not releasing any revenue numbers out there, and so that's probably not something that I'm comfortable discussing.
What can you discuss so you can help my audience understand what multiples look like today? You just raised, 16 million Series A, right? What revenue
Right.
should my listeners be hitting before they think about their Series A?
I think I'm hesitant to encourage anyone to abstract from our experience simply because like BaaS infrastructure versus
Well, totally. I mean, Huey, there's nuance.
B2C.
There's nuance
Yeah.
everywhere.
I mean,
That's why we ask for data points.
yeah. It's a little bit more difficult for me to share some of those from data, especially if yeah. I just think that's some like sensitive data that I'm not sure that we're comfortable sharing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, what we can do is, I mean, you said between 5 and 100, right? So assuming your minimum five customers at $1,000 a month minimum, you're doing more than 5 grand a month in revenue. I think you're doing much more than that, but we can conservatively. That's what you're
Yeah,
choosing to share with us.
I could say we're definitely doing more than 5K a month in revenue for
Yeah,
sure. Yes,
cool. What
yes.
can you share anything more in terms of like what year you broke $1 million run rate?
Um, Again, I'm just a little bit nervous about like sharing information that I just haven't fully thought through like what has already been shared on like the TechCrunch articles and things like that. It's just I'm just not sure what we're ready to share at this point.
Yeah, that's totally fine. What is the revenue goal for the end of next year? So you're not sharing current numbers, you're sharing sort of where you want to be at the end of next year.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is we've seen multiples of growth month over month. So it's hard to say because next year we're going to be releasing secure credit card in Q1 and then unsecured credit in Q3. We're just gonna like just, even if nothing else changes, like just the going back to like the bips, like the fundamental ways the bips are going to be calculated are going to be fundamentally different, which is going to be a huge change in the revenue alone, even if like we added no new clients or anything like that. So it makes it really difficult at this point. This is part of the Series B exercise that we're going to go through, and we're going to kind of project out these things. But that's the exercise we're going through in the next 1 or 2 months as we ramp up to get ready to do our Series B, is to kind of come up with these kind of projections.
Well, what was the big sales pitch in the Series A? Again, I mean, most of these Series A, depending on whatever 2-3 million in revenue, 40x multiples, you got to have some of these bets in those decks. What were the bets in the Series A deck?
Yeah. So what we're able to focus on is the early traction that we had, the usage numbers that we had, and the clients
Which usage numbers though? What numbers?
the number of accounts that were linked on our site, the ACHs that were executed on it, and then the beginning of the roadmap that around card issuance, which we launched back in July, was the launch of our debit card program.
Mm-hmm.
So those things allowed us to get a Series A.
Can you share any of those three numbers? So maybe not connected accounts, maybe ACH volume to the platform.
Um, I don't know if we shared the ACH volume, but I think the number we shared was between on the TechCrunch article was I think between January and August. I think it was like 150,000 production users got added to our system, and then I think that was the number that we shared on the TechCrunch article.
Yeah, but again, I don't want people to listen to this episode and go, man, that was a big waste of time. I could have read that in a TechCrunch article. So I don't want you to just cite things you've already said. Is there anything you can share that you haven't already shared? Otherwise, we wouldn't do the interview.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to like.
I understand that. Is there anything you can share that you haven't already shared? Is my question. I understand you're hesitant.
I think I can talk about like the release of our flagship product in January, which is something that we generally haven't talked about yet.
Well, I get that. I mean, that's a marketing pitch for a product, though. I'm trying to understand your ability to execute, right? So $150,000, 150K production users added between January and August is a great real data point. Can you share what that number was between August and today?
I think let me think about this. I'm trying to give you a sense of numbers or scale, without like giving out specific numbers that we haven't fully vetted yet. I think it's probably safe to say that our debit card transaction volume grew by, I think, somewhere between 2.5 to 4x between October and November, and we're probably going to 3x that from November to December. I think that's probably that's a number that we haven't released anywhere else, and it talks to kind of the reason why we're really excited about cards.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I mean, you're good at what you do because going from $1 in October to $3 in November is 3x growth, right? So those numbers are useless without understanding what the base was in October.
Yeah. No, I understand that. It's just these are the numbers we can share today. But
when did you launch the debit card?
We launched it in July.
Okay, so it's fair to say there was some base built up. It's not like you were starting at $1 in October and grew that 3x to $3 in November. Okay, fair enough. By the way, look, I can predict you're not going to comment on this, but we get so many data points on Series A companies. I mean, hundreds, right? 3,200 interviews done. Most Series A companies today are generating somewhere between $100,000 and $120,000 in revenue per employee, and you shared 30 team members. So we can kind of back into like $2 to $3 million run rate. Obviously, you can't comment on that, but my audience knows how to do that math, and they can sort of think about it that way. Tease the product before we wrap up, because I know you want to talk about it. The January launch. Talk a bit about that product before we go into the famous five.
Yep. So what we're looking for is to enable any organization without an engineering team, without a compliance team, without a servicing team, to launch a a credit union-like experience in less than a week. That's kind of what our goal is for 2022. So in 2021, in January, we're going to enable any organization without an engineering team, without a service team, without a commercial, without a compliance team, to launch a financial product with direct deposits, DDAs, debit cards, ACH, and wires in less than a week. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to add on secure credit card, unsecured credit card, secure credit card in Q1, unsecured credit card in Q3, and then unsecured lending at the end of the year.
Very cool. And Huey, you haven't mentioned team. Are you sole founder?
Yes, I am.
Ah, very cool. So that sometimes is hard for VCs to get comfortable with. How did you de-risk that for them?
I've been lucky to work with some really amazing people.
Okay, come on, Huey. Got to be specific here. So most I know Sunny does this, and I'm fairly certain your Series A folks, CM would have done this as well. Do they take a big chunk of the shares you've already vested and put you back on a vesting schedule in that term sheet where you're only vested 30% and now the rest is on a 4-year schedule?
Yeah, I think let's just say that I'm very much aligned with the long-term success of this company, and the investors know that I'm there for the long run, and I'm incentivized to be there with the company for the long run.
Okay, so you're not going to be specific there. Got it. We'll move on and finish up with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
It's not specifically a business book, but it's Algorithms to Live By, which is something that I use in my everyday life, including how I think about business.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
No, not any one specific CEO.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
Probably AngelList.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Oof. Weeknights, somewhere between 5 to 6. Weekends, I usually get 9 hours a day.
Okay. And what's your situation, Huey? Married, single, kiddos?
Married, one baby girl.
One girl. Okay. Very cool. And how old are you?
I am, this question should be easy to answer. I am 38.
Okay. And take us home here. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Quote, persistence is omnipotent. It's by Calvin Coolidge. It's this whole quote about the power of persistence.
Guys, there you have it. Productfy was homeless in high school, had a really hard time entering the financial system, and now he's solving that with Productfy, helping to bring power back to folks that maybe were disenfranchised from the current financial system. He's got between 5 and 100 customers already on the platform, moving towards helping non-fintech companies do things like launch a credit union in under a week. They have raised $16 million. Series A sold, call it pretty standard, between 10 and 20% of the business. 30 folks on the team today as they look to continue to scale. Heavy engineering with 17 there. Huey, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you so much, Nathan, and hope you have one for the rest of your week.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.